Joe Tessitore, fine game. Thank you. Fine night of college football starting upper left. ESPN2, NC State. You got the middle game. We're taking you there in a minute in Texas in a dogfight of the Longhorn Network with UTSA. But for now, we kick it here to ESPN. Texas A&M Miami and some primetime SEC football. Chris?
Well, thanks, and welcome to Aggieland. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, and Todd McShay. You've missed an exchange of field goals on the opening possessions for Texas A&M and Miami. And now with new quarterback, Max Johnson under center. The Aggies, after he was just sacked, run a 2nd and 15, and Johnson lowers the shoulder and gains some yards. Again, he replaces the embattled Haynes King and the LSU transfer. Bayou Bengals fans will remember his 27 touchdowns a year ago.
That's right. 14 starts while he was at LSU. Got beat out by Haynes King because Haynes King was in his 3rd year of the system. It really helped him win the job, but they've struggled in recent weeks. So they turned to Max Johnson with the experience in conference play. See if he can get this offense going. If you're just tuning in, they had a great opening drive compared to what they looked like a week ago against Appalachian State, but settled for a field goal in the red zone.
See what the big 6'5" lefty from Athens, Georgia, with his uncle, Mark Richt, here to watch the game, can come up with on 3rd and 7. Pressure again. Johnson stands and delivers across the middle. It's incomplete. They are in his face. DJ Ivey was in coverage against Devin Price, and here comes the punt team.
Wow, really good job of coverage downfield. You watch Max Johnson. He's starting to feel a little bit of heat. They're starting to crank up some linebackers, which they did not do in the first drive. Pretty good coverage here, and you can see at the top of the route. Good job of getting his left hand, DJ Ivey, around without interfering with the receiver on that crossing route. Good timing.
Tyreek Stevenson, for Miami, back to receive the punt of Nick Constantino. There are 2 Aussie punters in the game, so you're happy about that, Kirk. Melbourne, Australia, well represented tonight. The lefty gets his reverse spin punt away. It'll bounce and be fielded and muffed. And Texas A&M has come up with it. A mental mistake. And a disastrous result. And Texas A&M is set up inside the Miami 30.
It looked like Chris Russell got down there and picked it up, the linebacker. But what a mistake by Miami. Unbelievable that Stevenson lets the ball bounce and then looks down to see if he should take it and takes the risk, takes his eyes off the ball because he knows he's about to get hit by Richardson, and then it's a free-for-all, and you can see right there the linebacker Russell gets on top of that. See the eyes? Took the eyes off of the ball, concerned about who's coming down, and then the mistake cost him. And A&M see if they can take advantage of the field position.
Stevenson, the transfer from Georgia. And now they hand the ball off to their main weapon, Devon Achane, the sprinter, who scored both A&M touchdowns in the loss to App State. One with a run, one with a kick return.
That's why you win on all 3 phases. You know, it's the offense, the defense, but do not overlook the importance of special teams, especially when you're on the road in this kind of environment. Got to avoid being, having those disastrous plays, hurting yourself, something that A&M did last week against Appalachian State, but this time they're on the other end, they catch a break.
Just a grimace from Cristobal. Exactly what his team did not need in this hostile environment. Achane on a delay, breaks free. Devon Achane with a stiff arm spins down. Did they grab the face mask at the end? He's out inside the 5. He is electric. 10-2-2, 100-meter speed.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 0. Penalty is half the distance to go. First down.
Well, this play is designed to go to the right. He's going to follow the right guard, Layden Robinson. That's where Achane wants to go, but right here he recognizes he's got trouble. And watch the patience and then the vision to be able to go back the other way. Gets behind the center's block, Bryce Foster, and then again, he's physical and he has amazing acceleration. One of the fastest running backs in college football, and there's an obvious face mask at the end.
Go heavy down here. Ernest Crownover, 230-pounder in at fullback in front of L.J. Johnson. Old school I formation. Johnson dives forward, touchdown. And the Aggies waste no time cashing in the mental mistake. Three plays, 28 yards with the penalty. And Texas A&M gets the shot in the arm this offense has sorely needed a short field, and they make short work of it.
Well, this is just a good job here by Johnson going up and over the top of defense at Submarine. But Miami, a young football team on the road, trying to establish themselves, off to a pretty good start. They're able to get 3 and out, punt, but instead of getting the ball back, they have a fumble by Stevenson, making a poor decision. A couple plays later, H.A. moves them down close, and then L.J. Johnson goes up and over, and A&M takes advantage of it. Yeah.
And welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Geico. This presentation of the SEC on ESPN. Miami Hurricanes trying to beat an SEC team for the first time since 2013, visiting Texas A&M. Tyreek Stevenson had a good game last week. He had a nice punt return. He had an interception against Southern Mississippi, but he had a massive blunder to set up the Aggies' touchdown. And now we'll see Kirk, this Miami team on the road, this big hostile crowd. How are they going to handle it? To Holly Rowe with the suspension news on the Aggies' side.
Well, guys, kind of some late developing news for Texas A&M. 4 players are likely suspended tonight, but we're not sure for how long. I did see all 4 players warming up pregame. There's a chance that they could come out and play here in the second half, but they are significant players because we do have Evan Stewart, who is the top receiver besides Chris Marshall, who is a backup. Denver Harris was slated to start tonight, and Smoke Bowie was expected to get some key playing time.
Yeah, I'm told, Holly, they will miss the entire game. Discipline for that curfew violation, which has been reported. Canes keeping on the ground. Shamar Stewart tackling Parrish.
I just want to say one thing about Miami. Has been a team that's been very fragile when they've made mistakes, especially on the road. You have a new head coach who played there, understands the pride of the Canes better than anybody. You're on the road. You've been playing well these first couple series. You fumble a punt. A&M takes advantage of it. How do you respond is a big part of how this game's going to go right now.
A Miami team that I think too often in recent seasons, it goes back more than recent seasons actually,
is under further review for potential targeting.
This is Jeff Heiser, the referee of this ACC crew. There was a buzz down, and of course we'll have an opportunity to bring in Bill Lamagne and see. Here's what they're looking at. It's on the hit against Parrish.
Like Brian George, 16, coming in there.
He drops the head, crown of the helmet, forcible contact. He did take aim with that helmet. He led with it.
Oh, he sure did.
He's in trouble.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, I can see this one being a disqualification here.
Not flagged on the field, but of course the replay booth, which is working in concert with the command central for the ACC, spots that, and we'll see. Well, it's been an interesting week in Aggieland. The Appalachian State shocker a week ago. You guys took game day there. They had a wild win today.
Gosh.
But urgency, redemption. Jimbo Fisher was very pleased by the week of practice of his Aggies. Now, you get the suspension news that the Holly just gave. You wonder how that figures in.
I think, I don't know what they did, but, you know, after the week that they had last week.
There is a personal foul with targeting against the defense, number 16. That 15-yard penalty is in force. Automatic first down.
And so Bill is in fact right. So he's gone. George is gone. But after the week that they had last week, and then all of a sudden 4 players aren't going to follow the rules, and they're young players. I think they got to have consequences. So I think it helps the team understand that Jimbo Fisher is serious about this. But this game and the way it started, I'm saying this because if you're a Miami fan, you're used to watching this and saying, "Oh boy, here we go." But it feels different right now with this Canes team, and I'm anxious to see with Mario how they respond to a really, really difficult set of circumstances there early in the game.
And no time to be fragile on the road, is there? Penalty moves the ball to the 41. Again, Brian George is out. It's a flea flicker. Van Dyke threw a touchdown a week ago on a flea flicker. This time he finds Redding for a more modest gain. But Josh Caddis just loves a flea flicker.
Oh, he sure does. And he's looking, to try to get this ball thrown deep. The outlet would be right here, and he's just going to look at the safety. Does the safety get deep and take away the deep throw? This is who he's looking at, trying to make that decision. And once he gets downfield, he goes, okay, I'll just check it down and still pick up good yards.
It's Parrish trying to get around the corner, and he's going to be dragged out by the back of the shirt. Monty Richardson sound tackler in that Aggie defense.
Bill, is horse collar still a thing? You gotta update me. All these rules are changing because I see a lot of plays where it looks like a horse collar. Help us out on that one.
That looked to me like he did grab him at the top of the neck there,
yeah,
and he did dislodge him a bit, took him off balance. So I'm surprised that wasn't called.
Here you go, Bill. What do you think? In that
horse collar tackle.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Jalen Knighton back healthy.
He had a free play,
and he will take that free play and make a long throw, and a catch made at the 32-yard line by Keyshawn Smith. One of the guys who's going to have to step up because Xavier Restrepo, the roommate of Van Dyke, by far his most trusted target, is out injured foot. He heard it in practice this week.
And they'll decline that.
Results of the play, first down.
And that's one of my keys to the game is how the young receivers step up. And here's Keyshawn Smith. Now A&M has been playing a lot of tight press, trying to disrupt the timing. This time they sink in coverage, and with the free play, Van Dyke's willing to take a chance against that soft coverage and hits it.
You also get Jacoby George back. He missed the first couple of games with the suspension, number 15. The sophomore counted on to make plays in the absence of the reliable Restrepo. Van Dyke rolls on first down and delivers incomplete, just out of reach of Smith that time.
Pretty good.
Much more comfortably in the pocket, isn't he, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, he can move around. He's a pretty athletic guy, but he likes to push the ball down the field because he's got that big, strong arm. And really, to me, it's not so much about Van Dyke. We know what he can do. It's about the timing and the execution with these young receivers where they're still, early in the year with so many new faces, still trying to get that game speed downs. And in a tough environment on the road, it's a work in progress and it's a feel. Each rep counts. They've been running the ball well. The offensive line's been doing a heck of a job, moving people around.
Knighton and Parrish have had success. There's a long throw. Brashard Smith and a nice tackle in open space by Jalen Jones. He made about 5 or 6 tackles already.
Yeah, there's a run-pass option where he's looking out to his right. He's got 3 receivers, and he's looking at the inside receiver, and he sees that cushion. So he's got 2-on-2 to the outside. He thinks, okay, we're going to be able to block that. Somebody's going to be able to get away and be able to pull away and make a play, and instead the corner does a nice job. Both the DBs do a good job of getting off those blocks. You have 2-on-2 with a big gap like that when you're slot receiver. You got to win on the outside.
Timeout taken by Texas A&M in front of this 3rd and 9 play. So Miami has moved the football well. Each of their possessions settled for a field goal from the red zone. First timeout. Take a look at tonight's Bear Paint game plan.
Yeah, for Miami, I talked about road focus. You come on the road as a young team, you got to be able to focus and not worry about all the outside noises, maybe the distractions, maybe a mistake like we've already seen. Talk about the young receivers needing to step up. A&M, execution, which we've seen. Much better job up front. They had way too many miscues, self-destructing against Appalachian State, and then play as a team. All this talk about 5 stars, NIL, bunch of individuals is what I saw a week ago against Appalachian State. You got to play for each other. You got to play to win the game. That's what Jimbo Fisher is trying to get his young team to understand.
They're in fringe field goal range for Andres Borregales, but Van Dyke thinking about converting this 3rd and 9. Parrish is the back as the Aggies crowd the line and then back out. Pre-snap chess game and lots of time to work with on the play clock.
Chris, he's got Will Mowry up top. He's a big tight end that has receiver skills at 6'5".
Van Dyke looking to his left and delivers incomplete. Just flat out drop by Parrish, who might have had the first down easily, and he held on to it.
And they're playing a matchup zone and eventually becomes man-to-man, and you get to the outside. Watch the linebackers kind of looking around, identifying who am I going to take, and because there was a little bit of hesitation and doubt by Cooper on who to take, he's slow to get to the outside. Ball could not be thrown any better. Plenty of yards after the catch, would have been a first down.
So Borregales, who converted a chip shot earlier, on from 49. And line drive off to the left. So the drop on 3rd and 9 proves costly. Canes can't convert, and the lead is still 7.
He just didn't look comfortable at all. Pretty good hold. I mean, the ball never really had a chance as soon as he hit it. It was way left.
Grass is cut low. It's almost like a putting green out here.
Yeah, he just pulled
Should be
it.
a nice surface to kick off of.
So if we're keeping track of all this, you had the miscue on the punt by Stevenson that A&M's able to take advantage of after a 3-and-out, where Miami's defense had done their job. You drop a pass on a 3rd and 9 that would have been a first down, and then you ask your kicker to make a long field goal. And first quarter, Miami playing better than you would think based on being down 10-3.
So Max Johnson back to work here. Canes have been able to affect him, pressure him in the early going. A-Chain runs smack into the middle and is tackled after a short gain there by Wayman Steed, the backer. Jimbo Fisher calls the plays, but he was asked about that after the poor showing offensively against App State.
Yeah, and he was quick to point out that missing Bryce Foster, how difficult of a loss that was in the middle, 61. And, you know, I looked at him, and maybe we'll take a peek here when we get a chance. But you look at this guy, his body, he's an NFL center, and you're blown away by his strength. He played all of last year as a true freshman, so they missed him the last 2 games.
Johnson again hammered as he throws the football. Canes brings some pressure that time. Chance Williams came off the edge.
And again, there's nobody that's blitzing. This is just bringing 4. In fact, eventually it ends up being 3, and Harvey's able to win around that right edge and get home. Good job with that push. Good bend to be able to work back to Johnson. And now it puts A&M in a 3rd and long situation. Good to see Kevin Steele back coaching again as a defensive coordinator.
He knows Jimbo Fisher offenses very well. He's been everywhere.
Sure has.
Johnson's last 4 incomplete. He has been harassed lately by this Miami defense.
Showing pressure on the left side. We're going to drop out of it.
This time has good protection and delivers across the middle, incomplete. And good coverage again by DJ Ivey.
We saw him on a very similar route early, where, you know, the receiver coming underneath he's got maybe a step on him, but the length, the arms, what a great job of being able to get that left arm again in there to be able to keep that ball away from the receiver. Jimbo's looking up to see if that was pass interference. That's what he wants. He wants pass interference.
Stevenson has been sent back out to return the punt, so giving a chance to atone for himself. Again, he had a nice return last week. Very talented athlete. Backpedals here. This time he's going to let it bounce over his head, and it checks up. And Constantino does a spectacular job of executing a booming punt. Checks back at the 9-yard line. 57 yards. Todd McShay joining us. And Todd, you're keeping a close eye, as a lot of NFL scouts are, on Tyler Van Dyke tonight.
Yeah, and at the quarterback position, Chris, we're always looking for that special trait. With Tyler Van Dyke, when he knows where he wants to go with the football, it's his ability inside the pocket to carve you up on all 3 levels. First, it's the arm talent. Look at this throw. 35 yards down the field, a laser show, and the ability to place it perfectly. And then if you're not a great runner, you've got to have this pocket awareness. Look at him feel the outside pressure, climbing up, and then just flicks his wrist 30 yards down the field.
Goes a slant to Michael Redding, incomplete. Antonio Johnson, the nickelback, physically arrived and knocked it loose.
You know, and Todd, I think last year when De'Ara King went down, I think everybody thought, oh boy, that's, you know, devastating. We all are huge fans of De'Ara and what he can do, and we knew Tyler Van Dyke through recruiting was a talented player coming out of Connecticut, but I think he wowed everybody with what he was able to do when he got a chance, and really only got better as the season went on. But he's missing obviously the receivers that he worked with last year.
From the pocket, a laser across the middle. Here comes a flag from the holding pit area. Jardine Gilbert on the coverage. Busy start for Jeff Heiser and this ACC crew.
Holding, offense, number 70. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
Oluwaseun guilty of the hole, pretty obvious in there.
Yeah, to our left, the right guard gets beat off the ball. Pretty good job by Turner getting inside, and then he just wraps up around him to bring him down, prevent him from getting to the quarterback. But they decline, and now you got 3rd and 10.
Veteran quarterback trying to deal with the noise.
That and get a good feel for what coverage they're in and what if they're stunning or blitzing up front.
Van Dyke has protection across the middle. Redding knocked loose again. The Aggies arriving and delivering blows. That time it was Damani Richardson, and the Canes go 3 and out with 4 seconds left in the quarter.
That's on Van Dyke for putting his receiver in harm's way. He had a couple underneath routes, the back out of the backfield, and then he leads him right into this. As a quarterback, you've got to feel that corner on the other side just sitting there in zone coverage. Receiver really never had a chance, and I'm sure Van Dyke's telling his receiver, that one's on me, that's my bad, I should have felt that. They're going to take a peek to see if there was targeting.
For potential targeting.
That'll get the crowd booing here. Brian George already has been disqualified for the game with a targeting. Now they're taking a look at Richardson.
George lowered his helmet. Ooh.
Bill Lamagna totally agreed with the first call of targeting tonight. Bill, how do you see this one?
He's got the crown of the helmet down again.
He does.
So they're in trouble when they do that. They're going to go with a targeting call here.
I think they will too. It's very similar to the last one as far as the technique. I mean, he's lowering the helmet. I mean, that's why you guys put this rule in, right? It's for these kind of hits.
These kind of hits.
To protect the defender.
Yeah, because it crushes the neck.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they don't want to see right there. I mean, it's really textbook along with the other one.
Well, I'll tell you, if you have George a corner out, Richardson is the leader, most experienced guy in that secondary.
After further review, there is a personal foul targeting. Defense number 26.
So now they lose their leader, the guy that communicates back there. Remember you had Denver Harris and Smoke Bowie, the young DBs already suspended. Yeah. It's getting thin in a hurry back there.
It really is, and I think you just brought something up. It's his 34th start. I mean, Richardson is a veteran, makes all the calls for DJ Durkin in her first year as a defensive coordinator. And while the offense has struggled and they lost to Appalachian State, the defense has been playing sound football, and you're taking away one of the leaders now in the middle of that defense, and they pick up a first down on that third down play.
So now Bryce Anderson, a true freshman, is in at safety. And the Canes on the final play of the first quarter, a quick burst from Jalen Knighton, who does appear to be healthy, picks up 8, and frustration from Richardson, who have to watch from the sidelines. End of an eventful first quarter in College Station. 10-3 Aggies. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime. Now, great scene, 106,000 expected SRO. ESPN College Football Primetime presented by Geico. And this presentation of the SEC and ESPN. The Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week. So the targeting call against Richardson, or what would have been a 4th and 10 play, prolongs the Miami drive. They pick up 8 on first down, and now feed Knighton again on the running game, who bounces for a first down to the 35.
Now, they opened this game. We were on ESPN News while the Mississippi State and LSU game finished, and I remember talking about how impressed I was for this Miami team to get on the road, and all of us are focused on Mario. What are they going to do with Van Dyke and these young receivers? And man, the offensive line took control. They were averaging 6 yards a carry. I feel like the last couple series it's been all about the pass, and I don't think they want to abandon that running game.
Knighton with a burst, and he motors for another first down. This Miami offensive line, it's a veteran group opening some holes.
Now watch the right. We just talked about running the ball. Watch the right side, push people around. You got a nice open there, and I'll tell you that we're seeing Jalen Knighton show great patience, great vision, and then man, can he accelerate through the hole.
Sophomore from Deerfield Beach High School, came to Miami with a lot of hype, battling through some injuries in camp. Finally, he's full go. He and Parrish are an excellent 1-2 punch. It didn't take a great back to run through that. He picks up 7 more.
Yeah, we just talked about the running game, and now you're starting to see, Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator who came down from Michigan to join Mario and try to get this offense going again. It's a very different approach with how he's trying to attack from where they were last year with Gaddis. And this running game and different style of running plays that they have are big for them.
This is Parrish, who Gets first down yardage to the 41. They've got some speedy backs. They got a big physical guy in Thad Franklin. We'll see him down near the goal line. It's a good stable.
And now with what you can do, you run the ball. They've had about 3 or 4 straight runs showing that physicality up front. Now you can go to that pistol and show some play action, and you get some one-on-one matchups because the safeties have to come up and respect the run game, and you can get a little bit more of a balanced approach. I think that's where Josh is trying to go right now.
You know Gaddis well. This is the part of the field where he'll take a shot. He'll attack when they cross midfield. And it is play action on first down. And Van Dyke does launch downfield and has a man wide open. It's Arroyo, and the tight end is run out at the 10. That's very much in the Gaddis MO, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially the reason he likes to do that here is he gets man-to-man coverage, and he's able to sneak out a tight end who's lined up as a fullback and create a matchup, a wheel route. And I really think the safety thought he was going out to the flat. Gilbert kind of bid on that outside move, and a really nice job of Van Dyke waiting until the last possible second for him to get some separation, and he puts it right in his arms.
Arroyo is a Texan, comes from the Dallas area. Extra excited this week. Now Van Dyke on the run, a long throw, just throws it away as a flag down. Far side of the field.
I think he had a lineman downfield possibly, but the only thing, that flag was way on the other sideline.
The last thing Cristobal wants is a mental mistake from this group down in the red zone. Miami stalled their first trip
now
here.
Receiver downfield, number 60. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Look at Mario. I mean, he takes such pride in the offensive line. I mean, he takes pride in the whole team. But you see his eyes looking out at Nelson.
Of course, he was an offensive lineman at Miami.
Look at him. Look at the intensity.
Coached O-lineman his whole. He still spends a lot of time with him at practice.
First drive, they moved just like this. Into the red zone, had to settle for a field goal. He wants a touchdown down here.
First and 15. Van Dyke has some time, and the ball is batted down at the line. They didn't get near the quarterback, but getting a hand up. Albert Regis was in the area, says he got it.
Yep. 6'1", 320, number 15. Not able to get there, so nice job with those long arms getting his hand up. Just knocked that ball away. Replace that right hand of the quarterback with your hand. Gets it up, times it up perfectly. Now you got second and long. They can still pick up a first down without scoring.
Knighton bumped into a blocker and is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Tyreek Chappelle clogged things up off the corner. Reminder that, as you see, Damani Richardson, he and Brian George suspended for targeting early in the first half. Denver Harris and Smoke Bowie, the young DB, suspended for curfew violation. So getting thin back there.
Yeah, but Tyreek Chappelle steps up as a corner. He really set the edge, forced that to the inside, and defense able to rally.
So DJ Durkin there, well-traveled defensive coordinator. 3rd and 16. Van Dyke under pressure delivers, and it's incomplete. Tried to find Redding, and it was broken up by the very busy Jalen Jones, who has stepped up here in this first half.
You rush 3, and you have 8 in coverage. Nice change up here by DJ Durkin. Tough on Van Dyke. I mean, look at that. Look at the coverage downfield. There's just nowhere to go with that football. So he just opts to try to get it at least to completion, pick up some positive yards to help the kicker, but unable to complete that one to Redding.
So Borregales, who made the chip shot, then missed the 49-yarder. Back for a 3rd try tonight. This from 36, and it's blocked. Blocked at the line of scrimmage. The ball will roll dead in the end zone, and a very reliable kicker who'd only missed 4 in his career coming in has missed 2 tonight.
I think it was Regis again with those long arms. We saw him knock a ball down that was thrown a couple plays ago, and this time he gets his hand up again to block a field goal attempt. 15 off to the right there. Boom, that right hand.
So a tough night for Miami's special teams, to say the least. The lead is still 7.
You're watching the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
So another empty drive for the Hurricane offense. Albert Regis with the field goal block. Max Johnson and the Aggies back to work up 7. And looking to throw. Take a peek downfield. The pressure will tackle him just behind the line of scrimmage. It'll officially be a sack for Gude, the transfer from UCLA.
Yeah, nice coverage downfield. Bracketed that slant, the inside receiver that he was trying to look to go to, and even had a good coverage to his check down there off to the right. So Miami's able to get that pressure home with the coverage downfield.
So Darrell Jackson from Maryland, Mesidor from West Virginia, Gude from UCLA. They use the portal extremely well to restock from that defensive line, and it's a deep group. Johnson from the pocket across the middle, incomplete. Pretty good coverage by this Miami secondary so far tonight. We check in with Matt Berry.
Guys, good evening. Time now for your Capital One rewarding performance. Bobby Petrino making his return to Fayetteville with Missouri State. They had held the lead until this point. Bryce Stevens' 82-yard punt return, and Arkansas takes their first lead of the game up 31-27 midway through the fourth.
Imagine Petrino if he'd gone to Fayetteville. Still a lot to go there.
Yeah. Big third down here.
Haynes rush 4. Johnson with a long throw. The catch is made and battling near the marker. And it is a first down for Anais Smith, this trusted receiver.
Here's the arm strength for Max Johnson. He's on that right hash. Good feel in the pocket. Sees that pressure right in front of him, steps up, has a man right in his face, and is able to put that ball on a line to the outside to Anais Smith for that first down. How about that throw? Right hash to the boundary, with a guy closing in on it.
Johnson just 3 for 9. He has been pressured and harassed a lot. Both sides, the running game has been the more effective weapon so far. And A-Chain will be sworn. When you wear 56 and your initials are LT, Leonard Taylor, you got a lot to live up to, but he made a play there.
He's had a great first half, and I think Zach, you know, what you have here is Max Johnson looking to the outside, but he doesn't have any idea that in the inside is Leonard Taylor. So his eyes are fixated on that man on the edge, but boy, 56, very disruptive here in this first half.
Watch him. He defeats double teams like on a regular basis.
Great quickness.
A-Chain again had to dodge a man in the backfield, but flashes that sprinter speed, and just like that, it's a first down for the Aggies to the 42.
We just talked about him, how disruptive he is. Watch him here. Watch how close Taylor almost comes in to be able to make it a play. Again, right there. I think he almost gets held maybe a little bit on the arm by Bryce Foster. But there's enough room there for A-Chain with that quickness and power to get through and pick up positive yards.
A-Chain averaging 7.6 on his 8 rushes so far. 61 yards for the dangerous running back returner.
Starting to creep up.
A-Chain makes a move and barrels down to the Miami 40.
Nice job by the left side. They're going to pull here, bring the tight end around. Watch this open up there. Right side collapses. Man, that opened up perfectly. That's textbook. That's exactly what Jimbo Fisher wants to see. Unlike a week ago where they weren't executing very well up front, you bring in the center, Bryce Foster, a veteran now, started all last year as a freshman. Things feel different tonight for the execution up front by this O-line.
30 yards in the last 2 runs by A-Chain. They feed him again, and this time he'll be dropped behind the line. Swarming in there was Jared Harrison Hunt. Holly?
Well, guys, one of the reasons Texas A&M really loved Max Johnson when he got in the transfer portal is they remember just how tough he was, because the last touchdown he threw last season as the quarterback of LSU was against the Aggies to beat them. They remembered in that game he got sacked 6 times and still had the mentality to come in and throw that strike. They loved his toughness. You're seeing it, a little bit of it tonight. He's had to be tough in there as his protection breaks down, but they really love this kid and what he's able to do because they saw it firsthand last year.
Yeah, it was Coach O's finale down in the Bayou. One of his 27 touchdowns last year. 2nd and 12. Johnson stands and delivers incomplete. Again, it's tight coverage, not much there. James Williams, the very long athletic safety on the cover. Here's what the play we talked about. When you get beaten senseless all night and you can drop a dime with 20 seconds to go to win a game.
And again, look how comfortable he is. We've seen some throws like this tonight. When he gets hit as he throws, he does such a good job with his focus downfield that when they close in on him, and he's a big body, so he's not intimidated in any way at all. And of course, with his dad, of course, I'm sure he was raised in a way to be a quarterback and be mentally and physically tough in the pocket. He sure demonstrates that. He did on that throw.
He 12 on this third down. Kings creep up and show pressure, then back out. Four-man rush. Johnson has protection and delivers incomplete. Again, he's trying to throw into very tight coverage, and Tyreek Stevenson will spend tonight trying to atone for that muff. Made a nice play against Chase Lane.
Well, they showed blitz and they dropped back. They took away the inside receiver, so he comes back, works through his progressions. And, you know, you look at flag. There's Brad Johnson saying, oh, get it in there.
17 years in the NFL, Kirk, as a 9th-round pick.
Now he does trick shots on TikTok.
On the Super Bowl with the puck. Yes, that's what he's known for now.
Right.
He's a TikToker.
Big bad Brad.
Constantino, and a really effective punt that checked up earlier, spins it high and does it beautifully again. Those Australians have some skills, don't they? Canes backed up again, 7-19 and a half, still a 7-point game.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Keep away by the Mountaineers. They just beat him with old-fashioned football. Kicked a field goal. Aggies missed on the wooded side. How about that finish today after game day?
Oh, my God.
It was a boon.
Incredible. Last play of the game. Heave-ho. Chase Bryce hits it. But last week, everybody was shocked by what Appalachian State was able to do winning here at Kyle Field, and it's been a different A&M team tonight.
Miami's fourth possession, Kirk. They've driven it 65, 44, and 73 yards. They haven't punted yet.
There's Haynes King, who was a starting quarterback the last couple of games, and now Max Johnson in for him.
And they feed the ball to the left side. This is Parrish spinning and makes it. Nice run to the 15-yard line. Bryce Anderson stopped him.
Yeah, they've moved the ball. They've had some success, but they've hurt themselves. Kind of like A&M last week. Tonight, it's been Miami. They had the miscue on the punt, led to an A&M drive, missed a 3rd-9 conversion, and then they've had some field goal opportunities, missed one, and then got another one blocked. So Miami's having to continue to fight through this.
For the Aggies, Kirk, they've had 3 major penalties on defense and 2 disqualifications for targeting. So their share of miscues too. Parrish fights. It'll be a first down at the 19. Anderson stopped him again.
You know, without having that game breaker on the outside, at least yet at this point, with these young receivers, nobody proven, it makes it where you have to be a little bit more methodical. This is an offense with Mario Williams and with Mario Cristobal that they just feel like they have to have an ability to sustain drives, hit the underneath throws, run the football.
Just one catch for Mallory, the tight end, for 2 yards. This is Parrish again. Sutter steps and fights hard, runs much bigger than his size, and the former Ole Miss Rebel gets the ball to the 30.
Royo sets the edge there on the left. It's big tight end, number 80 right here, and then he comes in and he's able to bounce to the outside. Just kind of feels it, and then shows you he's got acceleration, but he can lower that shoulder for a smaller back and run through those arm tackles.
You see Knighton, who's back in the game, flash. Parrish 3 for 22 on this drive. And Knighton this time hit in the backfield and knocked down by Isaiah Riggs. Holly?
You talk about leg drive for Miami on that last carry. I was listening into the running back coach, Kevin Smith, talk to his team, and he told them, you're not moving your knees high enough. When you get hit, that's when the knees have to pump harder. You saw that great movement, move the pile, and Kevin Smith doing a great job. He also came from Ole Miss. It's one of the reasons he got his running back to follow him.
Yeah, great point. 4 coaches came from Oregon with Cristobal, and he's assembled other coaches from all over the place. Van Dyke launches downfield, and it's incomplete. Tried to find Jacoby George, one of those potential downfield playmakers.
And you know, you talked about Damani Richardson being out when all that experience, so they're relying on some young safeties to make plays. Now, Gilbert's a starter, but he's a first-year starter. Does a nice job showing the range to come over there and get involved in that deeper throw. Look in the background, 26, Richardson out of the game, jumping up and down, trying to offer encouragement because he can't get out there and play himself.
Van Dyke 6 for 16 now. On 3rd and 11. Battles, buys time, takes off. Not a natural scrambler, and he'll be forced out way short of the marker by Chris Russell. Miami will punt for the first time.
Well, DJ Durkin, much like Kevin Steele on the other side, just mixing up zone and man, and on 3rd down and long, sat back in zone, took away all his receivers, and you know, you don't have to really worry about a spy on Tyler Van Dyke because, like you said, Chris, he's not necessarily a real threat on 3rd down to be able to pick up those first downs.
Well, the Canes Aussie, Lou Headley, the 28-year-old, who might have left the program having that injured his hamstring, came back for one more year at Coral Gables, hopes to punt at the next level. Anais Smith, receiver, is a very dangerous returner, and the Aussie rolls and boots it deep, and Smith, no fair catch, evades one man, still alive, and now will be knocked down. A very exciting 0-yard return. Well, the 12th man tradition goes back to the 20s here, part of the Aggie lore, and always remembered with a number 12. Back on ABC next week in primetime. Saturday Night Football back to the Horseshoe. Buckeyes put 77 and counting on the board tonight against Wisconsin. The Badgers 66 points scored in a lopsided win.
It's always a great matchup. Both teams need that win. It's fun to see them collide early.
Johnson hands off, and this is Amari Daniels, Miami Central High School product. So pumped up tonight. He'll know about half the game's roster. Probably played with them since he was 5 or 6 years old.
Boy, they're pulling those linemen around and giving A-Chain a chance to kind of pick, just wait to the outside and then wait until he can actually, it's Amari Daniels, just wait till he gets to the outside and then accelerate through that hole. Nice outside zone, pulling the lineman up front. Moko led the way there, 66.
It has not been the offensive explosion many Aggie fans were hoping for when they put Johnson in. It's been a grinding effort. The ground game has been important. This is Daniels again. This time he is swarmed and knocked down just short of the marker. Chance Williams got him. 3rd and 1 coming up.
I kind of knew coming into this game we'd have a heck of a battle up front. You know, A&M, even though they have Anais Smith, they don't have, just like Miami, they don't necessarily have that vertical threat. And so you're looking at running the ball with A-Chain and hitting some of the underneath throws, intermediate throws. So you knew the pit would be a war on both sides, and it's really lived up to that.
Short yardage backfield, Crown over in front of Johnson, the same two guys who were lined up when they scored their short touchdown. This time it's just a first down across the 30.
This time Kevin Steele on that short yardage, trying to get those linebackers to be able to hit a gap, shoot a gap at A&M's offensive line. Really good job, especially the center. Man, it's good to see Bryce Foster back in this lineup. Makes such a difference. Missed the first 2 games, battled with mono for 4 or 5 weeks, back healthy, was their center all of last year. Just kind of anchoring them up front.
Final 2.5 minutes in the half. 2 timeouts for Jimbo Fisher to work with. Going to keep it on the ground with Daniels. So Johnson comes in, has visions of sort of creating big plays, getting Anais Smith involved. The other sprinters on this Aggie receiving corps, they haven't been able to hook up for big plays yet with the pass game.
No, they just don't. They don't have that vertical threat. You know, they don't have that guy that can stretch the defense. I mean, you have a guy like a Jalen Preston or Chase Lane that can from time to time, but not consistently. So Miami doesn't feel threatened downfield.
A-Chain out of the backfield. He's a threat, but a nice open field tackle. That's the way to get him down. Cameron Kitchens, that's a tough assignment against 6 in the open field.
You take Evan Stewart, who's been suspended and not playing tonight. You take Chris Marshall out of the lineup, and you're looking at guys that just are tough underneath, but you want to give them the ball in space, especially A-Chain out of the backfield. But a nice job there by Kitchens.
At this point, not a lot of urgency by Fisher. He's keeping those 2 timeouts, letting the clock run. He needs 6 on this 3rd down. Off the play action, Johnson pump fakes and now checks it down to A-Chain. Defender fell down. That was James Williams. He gets up and makes the tackle, but it's a 1st down at the 47.
A-Chain does not get picked up. Look at it, playing a lot of man-to-man, but with the blitzing, the twist, the stunts, they're trying to get home. And of all the guys you want to leave alone, that's not the guy. Miami's going to call a quick timeout here to regroup. But yeah, you don't want to leave A-Chain alone there on the 3rd down.
See if the Aggies can make something of the final 53 seconds when you come back.
Matt Berry back in our college football studio. What a halftime we have for you. Arkansas escapes, perhaps looking ahead to Texas A&M. Florida's on the ropes right now, plus Appalachian State. What a finish we had in Boone. What a college football Saturday. And Georgia still looks the part. Jesse Palmer and Joey Galloway join me coming up at the half. Chris and Kirk, what a day it's been across the country.
We say that again, Matt, right?
Matty.
A month it's been.
Unreal.
1st down. Aggies still with the 2 timeouts. Johnson, crowded pocket, long throw, no chance to make a play. Tried to squeeze it into Aniyah Smith. Both quarterbacks not that comfortable so far.
No.
What they're seeing on the other side from opposing defense.
And I think it's a combination of being able to get some pressure around them, and then also mixing up some coverages. You've seen some man-to-man. You've also seen some zone, and you always have to do that against quarterbacks that have experience and have that ability. Max Johnson for A&M. There's a good look at Van Dyke. He's facing some of the same issues.
2nd and 10. Johnson checks it down, and they are standing there and just waiting that time for Smith. Kitchens on the tackle.
Well, that's a much better job of keeping an eye on the back A-Chain and just being aware of where he
against this Canes defense.
They have, yeah, and you knew they would, but you also knew they had a tough week of practice. They were embarrassed, so you knew they would come out and play much better. I mean, it's 10-3, and it feels like it's, I don't know, 20-3 or 24-3. Like it just feels like it's Miami hasn't played really that well, and yet they're still on the road, hanging in there. Be interesting to see how this half ends for both these teams.
I think they've actually outplayed him, if not for the muff punt by Tyreek Stevenson, which set up a very short touchdown drive, and 2 missed field goals, one of them blocked by Regis. Special teams have been the difference here so far. A-Chain moves out Kirk.
Let's be honest. I mean, they take everything away, and then just as a spy there, usually known as a guy that's going to come off the edge, but they use him in a different role where he's just a spy, and he's able to use those eyes. But give credit to the coverage downfield of taking away all the options there.
Either coach spending a timeout, intended to send to the locker room just like it is. So special teams huge. Cristobal's team battling on the road. They outgain A&M, but trail by 7. Let's go to Holly with Jimbo Fisher.
Well, Coach Fisher, you made a change at quarterback. How do you evaluate how Max Johnson was able to do in that first half?
Good job. I mean, again, we got to protect him. Doesn't matter who your quarterback is, you got to protect him and give him some time. He made some nice plays early, and we've done a good job taking care of the football. We're up 10-3. Had an opportunity or two. Wish we could have missed a couple run plays there if we could have popped and then a pass one. But we're 10-3. Got to play the second half.
You've lost 2 DBs because of the targeting. You've got 4 suspended kids out, 2 of whom are DBs. How do you anticipate them playing in this game?
We don't. If they're suspended, they're suspended. We play with what we got.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
You might have done some yelling in practice this week, judging by the voice there.
No doubt.
So, end of the first half in College Station. 10-3 for the home team. The halftime report. To the studio, Matt Berry, Joey Galloway, Jesse Palmer. They promise good things at halftime. We'll see.
Chris Fowler, we deliver on our promise each and every Saturday at halftime here. We're going to start with Arkansas taking on Missouri State. Bobby Petrino making a return.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
And welcome back. Kyle Field is rocking here, ready for the second half on ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Geico in this presentation of the SEC on ESPN Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week. Miami to get the football first to begin the second half, down by 7. It's been an old school first half. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, Todd McShay. Both quarterbacks uncomfortable by the end of the defense. The running game's been the better choice for both offenses. Special teams miscues by Miami have made the difference. And Tyler Van Dyke and the offense comes back out. Todd McShay here to analyze this NFL prospect. What have you seen in the first 30? It's been a tough go for Tyler so far.
Yeah, it has, Chris. And we talked about him as a potential first-round pick because of the unique arm talent. The next step in his development is looking off safeties, being better with his eye discipline. You're going to see all first half. He's staring down his initial target, and that's allowing safeties to get back into the play. That was the initial play, and then a critical play here, rolling out to his right. If he just looks off the safety down the middle of the field, he's going to buy himself an extra step. Now listen, part of it's because of the receivers, but he's only 3 of 10 for 56 yards on throws beyond 5 yards.
Running game, they feed Parrish, and the Aggies begin to swarm that.
You know, and Todd, the interesting thing is this is a secondary that's depleted with suspensions, and you know, I've seen a couple guys been thrown out for targeting. See his numbers overall. I mean, this would be a secondary that would be ripe for that, you know, to be able to affect him with your eyes. We'll see if it, you know, so kind of adjustments they make here in this second half as an offensive unit, including Van Dyke.
And the catch made by Redding on the edge. You know, quarterbacks have their favorite reliable targets, and Xavier Restrepo is that for Van Dyke. He worked with him over the summer much more than these other guys. He's his roommate. He doesn't drop the ball. He's out with a foot injury, and it's made a huge difference, I think.
If you go back to Charleston Rambo, who's no longer here, he moved on. Mike Harley, who's a great receiver, he's moved on. You know, they were looking at somebody to help Restrepo out, and you know, now that he's not here, you're the second half here, who's that guy going to be?
And Parrish just stumbles to the ground. We know he's watching the game, and send our best to him for a quick recovery. It'll be right out of the gate here.
And with him at home watching, you know, we talk about the tight ends. You know, you got Arroyo, you've got Mowry, who are capable, but really, if they're going to hit a big play, it's going to be Jacoby George. You got Keyshawn Smith, Rashard Smith. Somebody's going to have to make a play downfield. Otherwise, they're going to have to go 12 and 13, 14 plays to try to put points on the board.
Jalen Knighton is certainly capable of creating out of the backfield.
They have moved the ball. I mean, they've been in the red zone a couple times.
There's a whistle.
Mario,
he just didn't like what he saw.
He was trying to hurry them up to get them to run a play. I mean, he was winding his arm up, and you can see how frustrated he is that they had to use that first time out here early in the second half.
Holly?
Mario Cristobal of Miami was pleased with some things in the first half, but he said we made too many mistakes. We hurt ourselves. The points we got on the board for Texas A&M were our fault. He did like their running game, that it got going early, but he said they started to squeeze them, squeezing the counters, pulling those ends in too close. He wants to get back to that here in the second half. And then he said our passing game has to be more efficient. He thought in the red zone their passing was so inefficient. He just wants them to play good, clean football. And he yelled at his team as they ran by him out on the field. One play at a time. They're still right in this ball game.
Yeah, that's kind of been their motto, Holly, as you know, in the talk that we had with them, like stay calm. Play that next play, one play at a time, fight through this adversity. Thing that, Holly, that report is great because the red zone area for them, not only not able to come away with some touchdowns, but they had penalties, costly penalties on both red zone trips that put him behind the sticks.
Pretty easy against Bethune-Cookman and Southern Miss in the red zone. Not so far tonight. Van Dyke is flush and will just dive down after a short gain. Again, nobody open.
Nobody open. I mean, he worked through, looked through his progressions, but DJ Durkin implementing some man, using those safeties, anything over the middle, they're doubling up with safety support downfield. And he just had nobody to throw it underneath to. So another third down and long.
Canes had some success on third down early, but lately they've been third and too long.
Now they're showing pressure. DJ Durkin is running down the sideline. They're checking with Miami to maybe get out of that pressure.
Still communicating as the ball is snapped. They do bring pressure. Long throw, inaccurate, off the mark to Keyshawn Smith, who had a cushion there.
That's an example. We keep talking about working through and developing chemistry, and you're going to anticipate and make this throw. Look when he throws his football. I mean, that's early, right? His receiver is not even close to being out of his break, and that's a tough throw to make unless you're working with a receiver that you work all summer with and you work the timing out. On a third down, a long throw like that, he gets the ball out, anticipates, which you love, but the receiver and he just not quite on the same page.
That's on Van Dyke?
Well,
quick or the receiver?
It's him still learning. Everybody runs that outcut differently from a timing standpoint, so they just got to continue to work on that. Tough to do in a game, right?
Nia Smith backtracks to receive Headley's line drive punt and be knocked down at the 25-yard line. So Miami empty in the first possession of the third quarter, and back to work goes Max Johnson trying to get the Aggie pass game going. On Monday night, 2 football games on 2 networks. Josh Allen and the Bills home opener against the Titans on ESPN at 7:15, and over on ABC at 8:30. The Vikings visit the Eagles. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters on that one. Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, and Dan Orlovsky. As Josh Allen, how good was he against the Rams?
How about that game and the performance by Josh Allen? About as good as you can, and with a little attitude with it, you know, running, throwing.
Here's the keeper by Max Johnson. Not the blazing speed of Haynes King, but he's a competent runner, and that's the first time they've turned him loose tonight. It's a first down.
He's reading Harvey. You know, he's been running this, and I thought that's kind of interesting that he's reading this in man, and I didn't know he would pull it, but it kind of surprises everybody. 6'5", 220, pulls it just enough to remind you better respect him and not collapse down on these running backs.
Johnson looks for A-Chain across the middle, makes the catch, checking it to Nia Smith, who breaks a tackle, and still fighting for yardage, slammed down, and a flag comes in. They'll add 15 to the end of the play. Smith, not maybe a burner, but very crafty, very strong with the football. 25 yards plus 15 on James Williams here.
Yeah, their most proven receiver, most reliable.
Unnecessary roughness defense, number 23, 15-yard penalty, first down.
A-Chain works to the outside. He goes out here, and you'll see the linebacker go with him. Once he clears out, man-to-man, look at that nice throwing lane for Max Johnson to be able to get that in there. This is what makes Nia Smith so good. He's a running back out there playing wide receiver, and Miami, another costly mistake here, trying to bring him down. Body slams up there by James Williams at 15 yards on.
Miscalled the penalty. It was definitely 0. So the Aggies suddenly set up at the 25, threatening to add to this lead. A-Chain hit in the backfield and spun down for a loss. That's big Akeem Mesidor. Strong, speedy, smart, savvy, does his homework.
And Max Johnson liked to have that one back. Mesidor fooled him. See his reaction. He's reading. Again, the zone read here by the big man. He collapses down. He's got to pull that. Watch 14. Oh, he's frustrated with himself. Knows he should have pulled that and went around that edge.
Little wrinkle here for the Aggie offense that Kane's defense not quite expecting.
He's trying to keep the edge defender off of A-Chain.
Smith goes in motion. Johnson looks for A-Chain out of the backfield, breaks a tackle. Devon A-Chain still running. He'll score. Canes have not been able to get him to the ground all night.
No, they got man-to-man situation with a backer on A-Chain. And this is what you want. Give him enough room after the catch to be able to make a guy miss, and then you get him in open field. He can make a lot of guys miss. He and Nia Smith are both the most dangerous weapons that Max Johnson has to work with. He hit them both on that drive, and A-Chain takes it in.
So A-Chain's third touchdown in the last couple of games. 2 25-yard chunk plays, a 15-yard penalty, and just like that, the Aggies are up 14. I want to bring in our new ESPN sports injury analyst, Marty Jaramillo. You'll see Marty across all platforms, different sports. He brings decades of experience. Marty, welcome. We've been talking about Bryce Foster, the center for the Aggies, who is coming back after a bout with mono. Why that's a concern for a football player, and why getting back to game speed is such a challenge.
Wow, what he is doing today is absolutely remarkable. He battled weight loss. He battled severe fatigue. And mono is taken very seriously by the medical staffs because the spleen can actually enlarge, and you have to stay out of all contact sports, vigorous exercise. And not only did he battle what the weight loss and the conditioning issues and fatigue, he is battling tonight. Oh my God, I am so impressed. I expected him to be sharing snaps, and he is protecting Max Johnson to a T. A sign of that world-class athlete he is and that incredible shot putter he is, doing double duty for the Aggies.
Yeah, Marty, we thought he'd be limited. He's been out there, and he's been making a difference on that Aggie offensive line, Kirk.
Marty, I can tell you, not only do you know medicine, you know football, because, boy, did they miss him last week. You know, they didn't have the leadership. There he is right there. This guy played as a true freshman. And they said having him inserted back in the lineup is going to be a big difference. And you've seen it. I think we've all seen it, right?
He's winded between series. I see him, but he's digging down. Unbelievable recovery. Unbelievable recovery. A little credit to his mom, who clarified the fact that he recovered from mono.
There's a keeper by Tyler Van Dyke. Marty, it'll be great to have you with us. Various different injuries that guys bring into games that happen within a game. And we appreciate you being here.
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you so much.
Marty's done good work on me, too. Full disclosure, he's mended me, Kirk, a few times.
Well, whatever he's doing is working on you, pumping the iron. I mean,
okay. All right, big fella.
Get older, you get bigger. I don't know what's going on. Arms.
Nothing's going on besides hard work, bro, I promise. What are you insinuating? Well, there's a handoff to Knighton. See if he can spark this Canes offense. They're down 14. It's not panic time, but they just have not been able to create any shock plays.
Yeah,
so
Clark, the center, really good job of sustaining his block. And then I'll tell you, the guy who's having a heck of a night is Rivers, 64. Watch the center. He's able to hold on to his block. 64 seals that. And then you got all that room to work with. And again, Knighton he's had some holes, and he shows you what kind of acceleration. Still early enough in this game, you got to trust that line in this running game.
Van Dyke pulls it, rolls, slings it downfield, had a man, but just over the hands of Keyshawn Smith. They continue to try to stretch the defense, but haven't connected.
That's the man that is going to have to do it. You know, Smith is probably the most dangerous target they have. Came to Miami all the way from San Diego, went to Lincoln High School. You run the ball, you get the safeties down. See the safeties collapse down. Now you got the one-on-one opportunity. A little bit more air on that, and he maybe had a shot to get underneath it.
He can move, but history says that Van Dyke is way more effective inside the pocket than out of it. Knighton runs through a couple tackles and gets slammed down. He's actually, inside the pocket, he's thrown 26 of his 28 career touchdown passes. He can make plays. He's just not as comfortable out there.
Yeah. I mean, his strength is sitting in the pocket. He's athletic enough that if he has to, he can move around. But yeah, he obviously rather sit in that pocket, distribute the ball, and been a challenge tonight without his main target, trying to break these younger receivers in.
Van Dyke 0 for 3 passing on third down. Now charging in very early is Terrion Lee. And that'll move it a little closer. Be third and very short now.
Watch Van Dyke here. Smart on third down. He's really selling this count, but he's been doing it all night. But watch the quarterback's energy. Watch his shoulders. Really leans in. Really tries to sell it on the road, even with that noise. Sometimes it's your body language where you try to draw that defense off, and he timed it up at the right time. Third down, he picks up the first down.
It was enough to move the sticks. Last thing you want to do for the Aggies is breathe life into this Miami team. Henry Parrish back in the backfield. They fake it to him, flip it to Mallory. Finally, the tight end's got some space. Big fella's been contained all night, but he is a weapon and rumbles down to the 36.
So when you run the ball, it allows early down play action to be effective because the eyes of this defense get into the backfield. Watch the defense. all these linebackers are concerned about, they're going to run the ball again. They lose their responsibility. Nobody takes the tight end that is able to slide out. So really good job here with the play calling that time by Josh Gaddis. 1st and 10, play action, slide the tight end to the flat, get those backers' eyes worried about running the football between the tackles.
Arroyo spells him at tight end. It's Brinson in motion. They throw it to him behind the line in the open field. Makes one man miss, but can't get a block on the edge and is forced out for a 1-yard loss by Antonio Johnson, nickelback.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Bryce Anderson, I wondered how a true freshman, and there are a lot of true freshmen in this 2-deep. They've recruited obviously very well, but when Damani Richardson, the leader on the back end, went out with a targeting call, 34 starts went with him. You bring in a true freshman, Bryce Anderson. And up to this point, young man has held his own on the back end.
9 true freshmen have played on defense for this Aggie team. It's a talented recruiting class, but these guys are learning on the fly.
Yeah, you're learning with every rep. But number 1's playing well.
Van Dyke for the play clock ticking down. On 2nd and 10, pitches to Parrish. And to the short side of the field, just not much room. Edgerrin Cooper edged him out. It'll be 3rd and long.
Now, they lost 2 starting inside linebackers off this defense. And Cooper played, but he didn't start. And now 45. Watch him able to get sideline to sideline. DJ Scaife tried to climb up to that 2nd level to be able to secure that edge, but no way. Instincts and vision by the backer, 45. He's able to get outside there, or he had an alley if he wasn't able to do that around the edge, maybe for a first.
It's fringe field goal range, and Borregales has missed 2. So Cristobal and Gaddis may be thinking 2 plays to get these 8 yards. Van Dyke with 3 on the play clock. Gets it into Jacoby George, and he has got a crease. Makes a cut. Jacoby George hurdles a man. Welcome back from a 2-game suspension. His first action and his first and goal.
That's maybe the coaches would tell you, one of their best playmakers. He sees this cushion right here. It's 2-on-2 to the left of that receiver. They've got to make those blocks. He's got to outrun the man that had him. He did it. They secure their blocks. Easy execution, but you're relying on the talented receiver, George, to be able to run away from that cushion that defender put on him. Now they're down inside the 10.
Knighton dives forward. At this point, Kirk, Miami, which is not executed well in the red zone, had a penalty early. Crucial to get this into the end zone here, down by 14.
Yeah, they've hurt themselves a couple times. They've been down in the red zone. Executing pretty well. I mean, again, they've got to sustain drives. This is a 10-play drive so far. Don't have that dynamic playmaker. Can they finish the drives and put the ball in the end zone?
1st and goal from the 10 against a tough defense is a challenge. Quarterback keeper, and that time Isaiah Rakes is ready for him, so that's an unusual call. They don't have many design runs for Van Dyke, and it's 3rd down.
I thought they might be fooled by this call, but watch the big fella 34, Rakes. Watch him keep that outside shoulder freed up, eyes in the backfield, and then he's able to get down to the outside and make a play. You're talking about a big body there, 330 pounds. I love to see his eyes in the backfield, not fooled at all.
Knighton is the back, 3 receivers to the right.
With a safety here, with 1 receiver, he's got to work to the right. And the question is, can he get the ball to the big tight end?
Hurry.
Mowry.
They just get the snap off. It's a running ball. Maybe they checked it down to Knighton. Bryce Anderson, that freshman you talked about, flies in there, and it's 4th down, and field goal team is coming out.
Wow, really interesting conservative call by Mario Cristobal here and Josh Gaddis. Play clock working down. The run game has been working, but boy, it's the execution and everything much tighter, much faster down there. A&M bends, but they don't break.
You surprised you're kicking the field goal?
Oh. Yeah, I am. Unless it's a fake.
It's a chip shot. Borregales 2 for 4. Good looking drive, run pass mix, 12 plays, 71 yards, but again, settled for 3. Lead still 11.
Matt Barry back at our college football studios. Want to update you on some of the night action. USC has kicked off here. Caleb Williams already thrown a touchdown pass to Jordan Addison. This one, he keeps himself 14-0 right now over Fresno State, and Texas has finally separated themselves from UTSA. Look at this run by Bijan Robinson. Right now, 38-20 Longhorns midway through the fourth.
Trojans can score. They might need win some shootouts this year.
I think Fresno can score.
Yeah.
That game could get interesting, but Fresno so far unable to get on the board.
A-chain back. See if Borregales gives him a chance to return it. Now that'll land in the end zone. Extra yard for Teachers Week, annual back-to-school effort led by the CFP. They recognize and show appreciation for teachers. And Jimbo Fisher's mother, Gloria, who's 85 years young, was for 51 years a teacher in high school chemistry and physics in West Virginia. She taught at the rival high school, the one that Jim played football for.
Jeez.
All her students were like going against him on the football field, but he was just speaking with great admiration for his mom and
that's great.
Half century of teaching.
Unbelievable. Making a difference in so many lives. That's a pretty good story that she's teaching at the rival school.
If you're watching, Gloria, we salute you. Extra yard for teachers. Johnson on the run. He's made an impact as a runner here in the second half and dives forward for 6.
Fella, yeah, like you said, Chris, he's been running a few zone reads. This time, I don't think he had any intention at all of throwing that football. He got outside, got behind Anias, who was out into the flat, and said, I can beat this linebacker and pick up some yards. I think he feels, remember, he didn't start the first 2 games. That was his first half of football really all year. And I think he's starting to settle into the game and feel a lot better here in the second half. He was 2 for 2 on that last drive.
You're not counting mop up against Sam Houston.
No, I'm sorry. And I think, you go back to 14 starts that he had at LSU, and, whether it was great games or wins or losses, it's irrelevant to me. It's the experience he gained. A lot of people assumed he would win the starting job. The reason he didn't is Haynes King's running threat in this system, and then also the knowledge of Jimbo Fisher's scheme. 3rd year in the system. That's why they went with the hunch, thinking Haynes would provide more. And after 2 games, they pulled the trigger to go back to Max Johnson to give him a chance. And I think that background on those starts help him.
Big play for the Miami defense here to get off the field and give their offense the football back. They come after Johnson, pressure him, but he gets it away. And it complete across the middle, and Anias Smith is still running. And he has been the playmaker on the receiving end here in the 3rd quarter. He's across midfield.
Well, they brought pressure this time. They dial it up. Again, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. A little bit of a delay, and then eventually Smith is able to get there. Almost looked like he got to him right as he threw the ball, but that goes back to his size. 6'4", 6'5". He's able to hang in there to the last second. And how much fun is Anias Smith with the ball in his hands after he catches it?
26th straight game with a catch. A guy who'll put his hand up, he'll play running back, he'll play DB if they'll let him. He's just that kind of a tough physical player. Had a 25-yard catch in the last touchdown drive. That was for 21.
Offense number 76, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
We got Layden Robinson, the All-American guard, 5-yard penalty. Holly?
Well, we talked to Anias Smith about why he's so athletic, why he has that wiggle, can do a little bit of everything. And he said he played a lot of different sports growing up. He said he played baseball, and he really thought that being an outfielder and a shortstop helped him, particularly the outfield helping him track the ball. Then he said he was a good hooper. He didn't play organized, but he played a lot with his boys. And he said, I like the basketball. I feel like it gave me some juke moves. I can really move my hips. I can bend. And he said all of those sports made him a well-rounded athlete here at A&M.
All about multi-sports. Basketball definitely looks like a point guard out there.
Johnson has some green grass, takes off, tucks the football, and takes a hit from DJ Ivey, but again, a very productive gain on 1st and long.
Yeah, making better decisions here in his second half, and you love to see him work through his progressions. And I think people that are going to be scouting Jimbo Fisher's offense with Max Johnson now as a starter, the assumption is that 13 Haynes King, if he comes in, he's got the speed, he's the runner. But as we're seeing, Johnson isn't a runner, but he's showing he can do enough to make you have to respect it.
This guy's a runner, A-chain. This time they get him to the ground. Miami has had a hard time tackling him as this game is worn on. Keontre Smith got him that time.
Notice those ends aren't collapsing on that zone read anymore. That time the read was on Harvey, 12. And he's threatened about Max Johnson pulling it, so he's staying outside. That's what opened up that initial hole.
There's another 3rd down. Clock bleeding away. Final minute in the quarter. as A&M would love to continue to chew on this clock, build this lead. Smith, though, is going to be dropped for a loss on that third down play. Canes were ready for number 6. They swarm in there. It's Antonio Moultrie, who's one of the backups in that defensive line.
And Kevin Steele is dialing up things, feeling the sense of urgency, down 17-6 with Miami electing to kick the field goal. Still down 11 points. Man, again, it's so good to see Kevin Steele back coaching defense. But he dialed up some pressure that time on that 3rd and short.
Crowd is urging Jimbo to go for it here. He's just going to let the rest of this 3rd quarter tick away. Have an opportunity to move the chains, work on the clock, perhaps add some points, or he could try to pin Miami back. We'll talk about it. The final quarter coming up. The Aggies had a touchdown, the Canes a field goal, and we'll head to the final quarter with the margin 11. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime. Welcome back to this presentation of the SEC on ESPN. Love the sway into the 3rd quarter. 3rd largest in the history of this place, 107-245. Fisher decides to punt here, opening play of the final quarter, and pent the Canes back. Constantino has been precise, executed absolutely perfectly. On the hop, it's down at the 1. He is a weapon. Go back to Columbus, Kirk. We'll see if the Badgers can put up a fight on the road in the Horseshoe against Ohio State over on ABC at 7:30 Eastern time. Also on the app. CJ Stroud, I'll tell you, I mean, you expect it against Toledo. It was a 28-14 game, and then I think, did they punt Ohio State?
I don't think so. It was a big day for their offense. Wisconsin wins big today, so it sets up the big showdown. Both those teams always play, and a lot of times you feel like it's a potential preview of the Big Ten championship, so there'll be go time. And Jimmy Leonard defense always tough. Let's see what happens here. Ball is pinned deep, Miami territory.
Parrish with the carry. Jalen Knight was having his knee examined by the Miami trainers at the end of that last possession, so we'll see if he's able to return. Parrish muscles for about 7.
Yeah, I thought he had about 2, and he just wouldn't go down. He's an undersized back. When I say undersized, he's short, and he's not 220 pounds, but he runs like he's 215, 220 pounds.
A lot of determination. And you give it to him again. He makes a cut and gets the edge. And Parrish down the sidelines is shoved out across the 25 by Chappelle, but the Canes running game has given him some breathing room here.
Boy, great vision here, and then bounces it. And watch the block on the edge, 51 and 85. They kind of double team there. Nice job. The corner gets caught up on the inside, gives him even more room around that right edge. So we saw physicality and toughness by Parrish, and then this time the vision and the speed to be able to get to that edge.
Tracking toward a 3rd consecutive 100-yard game to open his Canes career. He's got 82 on the 15 carries. They fake it to him. Van Dyke looks downfield, and an inaccurate throw. Man, he had a man, Michael Redding, running wide open and just missed him.
Yeah, and the offensive line did the best job that they could in protecting him, but eventually you'll see the pressure work through. So he's waiting on this receiver to work all the way across. In order to do that, you need time. They're holding up, and then right before he throws it, you got that pressure that got into his face just enough to, I think, affect that accuracy.
They haven't had receivers running free very often tonight. That time Redding was open. Into the ball game comes Big Thad Franklin. He is a 240-pound back. And he is met in the backfield and dropped for a loss, and it's going to be 3rd and long.
Well, Cooper doing a good job of getting downhill. The backer.
DJ Scaife, the tackle, versatile veteran offensive lineman, is down on the field. Cristobal out himself to check on him. We'll step aside. 3rd and 11 when we come back. It's back, the Taco Bell Live Más student section, saluting student sections all across the country. You're going to find a larger student section. The 12-man, 37,000 football season tickets sold here. That's more than double Miami's enrollment. 37,000.
It's outstanding.
He got 65,000 on the campus here. So 3rd and 11. That student section trying to make some noise, make it tough for Van Dyke.
They love football down here, don't they?
They do. They love sports, period. What can Gaddis do to get his quarterback comfortable, to find someone to make a play here? They rush 3. He's got time. It's a long throw. The catch is made, but short of the marker, I believe. Keyshawn Smith, are they going to give him forward progress?
Wow.
Oak was trying to push him back. They're spotting it at the 35. It is a first down.
If you look right where he caught the ball, I mean, it's right at the line. Ball brought him back. He ran a good route. The route was about a yard or 2 beyond the marker, but watch the ball bring him back. Yep, that's a good job. That looks like that's a first down. Bill agrees up here, so move those sticks.
A crucial conversion with time running out in the margin 11 here.
Looks like A&M is going to call a timeout. Jimbo Fisher wants them to review it. They said, I'm challenging.
They call for the challenge. We'll take another look. It is an important play if they do rule it 4th down, but we think it's going to stand because the catch is made there. Bill?
Yeah, he's got the ball right at the line to gain, and then he's hit and driven back. He didn't bring the ball back on there by himself. That was because of the hit.
There's the tackle after. That's well after the catch was made. The important part is right there.
Oh, this is a great look right here. There you go, Bill. What do you think of that?
Oh, that look puts it a little short.
Does
it? Right
there,
boom.
He caught it.
I don't know. I think it
okay, here's the question.
The
Everybody at home is asking: Is it where the ball is in his chest? If you go back and watch when he secures the ball looks like it's in his chest and it's beyond the mark, but his feet don't. Watch when he secures the ball.
It's the ball, though.
It's the ball, not his feet.
He does not have any further challenges for the remainder of the game.
So the call does stand. Fisher with just 2 timeouts left, but sitting on an 11-point lead, took a chance there. In the meantime, Van Dyke still trying to create something downfield. And he will launch. Smith, no chance. He was just caught up there. Jalen Jones has been active and busy all night.
Well, not only is Jalen Jones over there, but you also have Jordan Gilbert, the safety. So that play that was almost a wasted down. Play never had a chance on 1st and 10.
Take me inside Van Dyke's head, Kirk, as a guy played quarterback.
Yeah,
is he feeling edgy, anxious?
Even though you're in the 4th quarter, you still have to be patient. You can hit 8, 10, 12-yard routes and still get first downs. Move the ball down the field.
Well, he gets hit as he delivers. Smith was the intended receiver, but they came at him hard. Edrin Cooper slammed into him.
Yeah, they brought both the inside linebackers. It freed up Cooper to be able to get there right as he threw the football. Nice clean hit. Ball goes a little bit high because of that pressure. It looks like we have an A&M player down. Chappelle, the corner.
Already depleted his secondary with the 2 young DBs suspended, and then Damani Richardson, following Brian George, is disqualified for targeting. Chappelle, a proven coverage guy. I don't know, interesting game. It's a methodical Miami offense. Things were very easy for him in the first couple of games. They expected it was going to be tricky in this environment against an inspired Aggie defense. But I think that the people in Miami watching this have not seen what they hoped for from Gaddis and the new offense and a very proven quarterback.
Well, keep in mind, if you haven't seen the whole game, they had some chances. And they have hurt themselves. It's tough to go on the road with a young team and make mistakes. They had the Stevenson punt return that he muffed that led to A&M points. They've moved the ball into the red zone on 3 different occasions, unable to put touchdowns on the board. So they've had chances to be in this game. And they're not out of it. I mean, 12 and a half minutes to go and down by 11, but they're running out of possessions.
Exactly. They need 10 to keep this drive alive on 3rd down. They've actually dealt with the crowd noise pretty well. It's been the Yankees' scheme and athleticism and the lack of playmakers. It's been the bigger problem. Van Dyke on the crossing route. Mallory makes the catch. It's a first down, and the big, long-legged tight end gallops into A&M territory. He's really their best weapon with Restrepo out.
Yeah, he's down. Looks like, you know, this was a great effort by him before he goes down there on the sideline. Just extra effort. Watch how this play opened up, and we'll take a look and see if Mallory is okay. But all three of these receivers are working this way, and Mallory is able to kind of get lost in the traffic. And what is impressive is a guy that is as big as he is, 6'5", 245 pounds, is able to outrun this safety right here because he potentially could be short of the first down marker. And then there's the effort. Then he goes down on the sideline there, brought down by Gilbert.
Looks like he landed right on the top of his head. Boom, that is a scary looking landing as the head is just driven directly down into the turf. You see he is moving his arm there. Well, it's certainly a good sign, but that is so scary.
You see not only the Miami trainers and doctors, but also you see the A&M folks over there with him as well.
Well, we've got our sports injury analyst, Marty Jaramillo, joining us for the first time. Marty, without doing any long-distance diagnosis, what do you see from the training staff that might indicate their particular concern with Mallory at this moment?
One of the scariest situations for any medical staff is seeing your athlete face down on the ground. The video showed a direct hit onto his skull, obviously compressing his neck as well. Great sign that he's moving his hands, and now he's on his back, and they're able to stabilize him now. This will be treated like a serious cervical spine injury and transported as such.
What are the steps they initially take when they get across and see a player who's landed like that?
First thing is making sure the basic steps of first aid, airway, breathing, circulation. As we can see, he's coming up, and he's up, and he's more.
Able to shake his head. Yeah, that's certainly good news. I'm being helped to his feet.
Great to see.
Yeah, I know Marty speaks for all the professionals in the athletic training department, the medical staff who do such a tremendous job across college football, and that is a huge relief to see him up and running off.
Yeah, it is. It's always great news to see that, obviously, and it's something you always appreciate when you see you go down into the A&M sideline and their training staff recognizing the potential severity of it right there before the Miami trainers and medical team could even come over. But nonetheless, he is up and on the sideline, which is great. But they did pick up the first down there on that third down and long.
It's a 21-yard gain. They've converted 2 third and longs. And what is a urgent feeling drive. Now Knighton, who's back in the game after having his knee checked out earlier, picks up about 3.
You go back to your question about what can you do to get Van Dyke going. This has been a rough night for him. I mean, if you go back to the quarterback that we watched and Miami fans fell in love with last year with his 9 starts, especially the last 5 or 6, this guy was throwing easily over 300 yards a game. Now, again, he had Rambo and Harley to throw to. He's working with some new receivers, but even when he's had some open guys, he hasn't necessarily really been in sync and throwing with much rhythm tonight. I think you got to go to, again, those.
Well, they go to Knighton here on the grind game, Kirk, and they're going to move the sticks. He's still fighting, and he'll be shoved out by a bunch of Aggies as they run into the bench there, and tempers flaring. But Knighton is giving him a spark.
And sometimes when you have one back in Henry Parrish run with a little bit of attitude and some toughness, it affects other backs. And Knighton got off to a good start in this game, but he's been on the sideline, and it's opened it up an opportunity for Parrish. Parrish ran tough, and Knighton said, hey, when I get out there, I want to run tough. So kind of a contagious attitude right now in that Canes backfield.
Drive that began back at the 1-yard line. Moved it in 10 plays, 66 yards. Parrish spelling Knighton here. They fake it to him. Van Dyke is pressured, tries to escape, and tries to make something on the run. Just heaves it to the bench as he was hotly pursued by Antonio Johnson. Holly?
Well, guys, one thing I'm noticing down here on the field is this Texas A&M secondary is getting very tired because of their issues tonight with suspensions and 2 guys out for targeting. They are very thin back there. In fact, Tyleek Chappelle, who had played every snap in this game before he went out injured, was starting to fade as well. And number 34, Isaiah Rex, the tackle, just ran off holding his left arm.
Some guys have to dig deep and play bigger roles than they're used to.
And some guys who've never played have to step out there like Moten and Anderson.
Van Dyke rolls and delivers, and that's Jacoby George, who's made a couple catches tonight in his first action of the season.
There's a ball thrown with some authority from Van Dyke. You talk about how he likes to throw from the pocket. He's got enough ability to be able to athletically get outside and throw. What I like is he's decisive. He sees that cushion, takes advantage of it, get the ball out there quickly, and let a very athletic guy like George be able to make somebody miss.
Will Mallory back in the game, Kirk, and lined up on the right. This is a first down play. Again on the move, Van Dyke looking to create, flips it to Mallory very short. Man, from being a scary situation a few minutes ago, he's out there making catches and running around.
Yeah.
Great to see.
Yeah,
short gain there.
And a fifth-year senior, right? I mean, this guy wants to be part of turning this Miami program back to being a winning team. He's going to, along with the other Miami seniors, trying to do everything they can to try to give themselves a chance to win this game.
And showcase himself for the next level. He's an NFL ability tight end. Picks it off. That's Mallory again. And he's going to be slung down there by Gilbert. And it'll be third down. Good tackle on the big fella in the open field.
Good job by Gilbert, who's in his first year as a starter back in the back end. I talked to DJ Dirk, and he said, you know, hey, coach, it's early in the year, coming off a tough loss. What's the strength of this defense? He said, without a doubt, it's the front, but then it's our safeties. Antonio Johnson, Gilbert, and Damani Richardson, who is out of this game with targeting.
Here we go again, Kirk. Miami in the red zone, needing 6 on third down. Bunched to the right are 3 receivers. And Dyke looking that direction, delivers underneath, and it's Parrish who makes the catch but is knocked down immediately by Antonio Johnson, who is down on the field. A big collision and a fourth down decision coming up.
Yeah, don't really understand this route at all. This is a team that is, when they've gotten down to the red zone, they cannot get to the sticks. They cannot get to the end zone. And third down on that play, you just don't give yourself a chance at all to pick up a first down.
And you don't go for the first down on fourth down. Again, Borregales has been very busy tonight, 2 for 4. This from 34 to try to make it a 1-possession game. And just does sneak it through that right upright. They move from the 1 to the red zone in 16 plays, but again settle for 3. 8-point game, 8:32 to left.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Outside Kyle Field and inside the AT&T 5G Skycam. Don't forget to check out the AT&T 5G Skycast, streaming on the ESPN app and ESPN3. So Miami, Kirk, 4 red zone trips, 3 field goals, and a blocked field goal. I don't know if Mario Cristobal uses analytics to help shape his game management decisions, whether to go for or try the three-pointer. But I don't know. I mean, you settle for 3 again. You're down 8. So what you got to do is get a stop, do what you haven't done all night, score a touchdown, and then get a 2-point play to force overtime.
Right. And look, you talk about they've had opportunities 4 times inside the 29 plays, 8 yards, 3 field goals, no touchdowns, and very conservative third down play calling in those red zone areas.
They've run 30 plays in Aggie territory. They've run 22 more plays, not quite App State-like, but they've won the possession keep-away battle. They've outgained A&M by 85 yards or so, and they're down because of the red zone.
Yep.
And the one
now they're
short touchdown drive set up by the Muff.
Relying on Kevin Steele and this defense to come up with a stop, get the ball back, and then, like you said, it's something they've not been able to do all night. Get the ball in the end zone, and then for fun, get the 2-point conversion
to get to overtime. Yeah, I mean, huge difference between 7 and 3, and even if they're not easy to convert on the Aggie defense, I think those decisions will be pondered in the 3:05. A-Chain, meanwhile, had a really effective start to this game. Made some couple runs after halftime.
But the quarterback of the defense, Corey Flagg, good job at diagnosing, working through some of those linemen, trying to get up to him and lowering the boom there. They're crowding this line of scrimmage, expecting run with the safeties and the backers. 24 Kinchins in there too.
Corey Flagg, one of the Texans, who plays for the Canes here. A guy who, get this, hunts and then grills iguanas.
Wow.
Is kind of a
I didn't know you could do
Florida thing.
Yeah.
You can do it if you want to.
Is that big down there?
Not big, but it's done. Johnson from the pocket delivers, and the catch is made underneath by Lane.
Anything to do against Anais Smith.
Is he an impressive athlete? He may end up as a linebacker before he's done, but he's a 6'5", 225 safety out of Fort Lauderdale. 5-star at a Heritage High School.
Here's a big third down.
Very big. Johnson across the middle. He just bounced the ball, knocked down after the throw. So the pressure was part of it. Keith Brown was the intended man, but they'll have to punt.
Took a page out of Vic Fangio, put 5 guys up there to create one-on-one opportunities to try to get that pressure. Somebody's got to win with those. Not necessarily a blitz, but it's 5 walked up to get the one-on-one chances, and it affects Max Johnson. Not a great throw that time on third down.
So the Aggies don't burn much clock. A very quick drive, and they'll punt it back to Miami. Constantino, another booming punt, very high, and the fair catch is made by Stevenson. So Miami a long way from the end zone, but still hanging around. 7:06 to go here in College Station. Well, the College Football Playoff National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper made a visit to the midnight yell practice here in Kyle Field a year ago. LA at the scene of the championship game, January 9th. Meanwhile, coming this week on Sunday NFL Countdown, the Rams trying to bounce back. One-on-one interview with Matthew Stafford. Randy Moss ranks the best catches from today's CFP action. 10 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. So, Van Dyke and the Canes still in this thing. They need a touchdown this time, though, and a long throw and a catch made for a first down at the 44 by Keyshawn Smith.
How about that line? That play took forever. He had about 4.5, 5 seconds to be able to make this throw. Make sure he got his arms underneath that. Looks like he did, but great protection there. Well, the crowd wants him to take a peek. They've already snapped the ball.
Fisher used his one challenge earlier, and it was unsuccessful. Canes did snap that, perhaps with this replay in mind. Let's see. Looks like it's squeezed through and hit the ground.
Through there? Think they got away with one?
They may have gotten away with one there. It looks like he did get his arms down.
Initially.
Like it squeezed through.
Might have gone through, yeah.
They didn't buzz down quickly, and Miami was pretty shrewd to run a play fast. Van Dyke across the middle, and that's Mallory who's really getting involved here in the fourth quarter. First down into Aggie territory.
Nice with the running back. You clear the running back out, and then you open up a nice throwing lane. Nobody left in the middle. It's a one-on-one matchup with a linebacker against Will Mallory, and Mallory's going to win that matchup. That time it was against Cooper.
Trying to get to the edge. Flag down. Fadil Diggs got him. It was as he was being pursued.
See Diggs there. The fatigue now into the fourth quarter. It's a humid night.
First and 20. Pitch to the sidelines, incomplete. Tightly covered with Smith there by Chappelle.
And they are DJ Durkin is rolling those corners up, trying to challenge these receivers on every throw. Chappelle's a guy they believe in. They think he could be one of their top corners. He walked right up into the face of this receiver that time. Smith affected the timing. See him, he's down at the bottom again. Don't want to give anything easy away.
Another long throw, catch made, and a flag comes in again in the holding zone. Michael Redding made the catch, but Jeff Heiser has more bad news for Miami.
Holding, offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty, second down.
DJ Scaife went out at right tackle injured, so Zion Nelson has slipped over to that side, and he was guilty of the hold.
Nelson came in early in the game for John Campbell, 74, and because of Scaife being out, he's got to show the versatility to go from the left to the right. Not necessarily an easy thing to do with your technique, and look at that right hand get up around the neck there of Overton.
2 holding penalties have created a 2nd and 30. They're going to get to the Aggie 37.
Durkin doing a good job of rotating a lot of bodies, trying to stay fresh up front, and it's worked. They're winning that battle in the pass pro.
Rush 4 here. Throw underneath. Colby George picks up about 6. It'll be 3rd down and a mile. And they can do without Antonio Johnson. You talked about guys digging deep, stepping up and playing a role.
And they're going to rush 3, drop 8, make it tough on him in coverage.
Takes off. Chances of scrambling on it in 3rd and 24 are nil. And it's a 4th down. So the 2 holding penalties back to back, dooming that drive.
I can't help but go back to the opening drive of the second half. They had to use a costly penalty because they weren't getting the ball snapped. The play clock was running down. They wasted a penalty. Now you're at wasted a timeout. Now you're at 2 timeouts and under 4 minutes to go. And they're really working the clock here.
Yeah, no urgency to punt it away.
Not sure what's going on here.
Boy, Headley just thumps it deep and see if the Miami coverage team can corral it. They do, and be backed up at the 1. There is a flag down line of scrimmage far side of the field, so we'll see if maybe they took off too soon.
Could be an illegal formation.
They had 3 protectors. Headley, did they have enough guys on the line?
Illegal formation. Kicking team 1 and 5 in the back, 4 in the backfield.
They had 5 guys in the backfield.
4th down.
1 man was lined up off the line.
Yep.
So that's a good play by the punter that is wiped away.
Right here. There's the 5th. You have the punter back here, then you've got 3 more there. It's a total of 5. Can only have 4 in the backfield. You know, Miami's going to, if they end up losing this game, they're going to go back and look at some of these miscues and are going to try to learn from them early in the year. But it's frustrating, I'm sure, for Mario when they go back and look, because there's been some they had them pinned at the 1-yard line. I mean, at 3:20 to go in this game.
Yeah, negated a 55-yard punt. Let's see what Headley can do with another chance. It's another good kick, very high, and it's bobbled. A scramble for the football down inside the 10.
Oh, it's
a wrestling match. It
is a big-time wrestling match. 2 guys fight. They're still fighting for it right now.
Well, this is an enormous moment in the game, and Texas A&M wins that wrestling match.
How did Anais Smith get that back?
How did he fumble?
No, yeah, but that happens. But how in the world did he get it back? This ball right there, you're thinking Miami's got it right there, but Anais Smith gets on top of it for the Aggies and saves them.
Wow.
Hey, Scott Van Pelt, we will see you for SportsCenter right after this game's overreaction from the winning head coach. Highlights from a wild Saturday in college football. That's all they ever are, right? What a scene in Boone. Now back to College Station. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit.
Report to him, Scotty. It's A-Chain breaking free. He'll move the chains. What a heart-in-mouth moment for Aggie land here. Anais Smith somehow chooses to field that punt, not fair catch it, not let it bounce in the end zone, muffs it, and then wins a wrestling match with Porter to maintain possession.
Not probably a great decision to try to bring it in, but this guy's a veteran. I mean, he's reliable, right? If you can't trust him, you can't trust anybody on your team. Made a mistake. What you love is the way he didn't give up on it, fought back and showed that toughness, those strong hands to be able to bring that ball back.
So now the Aggies would love to just chew on clock and run this game out. A-Chain tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, and he'll get about a yard of it. Cristobal a couple of timeouts to work with here. Doesn't spend one here.
He's going to try to hold these 2 timeouts, and really it comes down to this series right here, this sequence of plays.
And they'll get out of here if they do hold this lead with the hard-earned W. It'll ease some of the tension in this area. They're not going to get too excited about the offense out of this game. It's 268 yards. Max Johnson, 10 for 20, made some clutch throws in the second half, made some plays with his legs.
Sure did.
The defense, terribly shorthanded, has risen up. They've been on the field a lot more than they'd like. And now A-Chain's going to be again knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. Now the timeout will be spent with 1:26. Now a quick word from Cheez-It.
I feel the cheesiest, but the chain puts the extra cheese on the cracker.
It's here. Look at this. It's the cheesiest chain.
This is the cheesiest day of my life.
Cheese it. Feeling the cheesy.
So A-Chain has earned his 88 yards. Now it's 3rd and 12. What do you call it?
I guess it depends on the lens and how you want to look at it. The fans at home want to look at it. You could say, well, the offenses have been that great. But I'll tell you what, man, for Kevin Steele coming into Miami as a new defensive coordinator, DJ Durkin coming into Texas A&M as a new defensive coordinator, and the season will play out and we'll see. But you got to like the way these defenses are playing on both sides of the football early in the year. And learning a new scheme. In DJ Durkin's case, he's got a depleted secondary, playing with guys they probably didn't expect to play tonight. But all in all, everybody's holding up and playing pretty good. So I think it's a combo. The offense is trying to find themselves, but the defenses are balling tonight, playing great.
Absolutely. No doubt. And a lot of guys on the A&M side being pressed into duty. They've got their jumbo package backfield in there. Crownover and Johnson.
You're going to throw this, you're going to run it and make them use that last timeout.
Well, this is their short yardage formation. You're going to make them spend the timeout,
yeah,
Coach.
But I mean, you could play action, of course, with Jimbo. You never know, but he decides to make Mario use that last timeout. So now you're going to get the ball back out of timeouts with a little over a minute to go.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, he's been relying on his defense. I mean, special teams mistakes. A normally reliable kicker in Borregales that left 6 points on the field. One long one he missed. The other one was blocked. But, you know, to hang around on the road and now ask your offense to come up with some big plays in the final minute and a half to win it.
I mean, you're always going to be second guessed when things don't work out. The bottom line is, at least you've given yourself a chance here in this fourth quarter to potentially get this game into overtime. Now, again, it's going to be a challenge. You got a quarterback that can throw it. I'm not worried about Van Dyke. You're worried about, can the receivers get some separation? Can they get open and give them a chance? And can the line protect when it's an obvious passing situation?
And Constantino continue his brilliant punting. Tyreek Stevenson, whose muff did set up A&M's first score, would love a chance to create something here as a returner if the Aussie gives him a chance. Lefty boot is high. Stevenson, no fair catch, has some space for a second, and then they close down and hammer him. And Miami will begin from the 43. Minute 16, no timeouts.
Pretty good field position. Pretty good field position here for Miami. And they're going to have to do something they haven't done all night. Put the ball in the end zone. They've been moving the ball. We've seen them 4 times in that red zone and unable to score, like you just talked about. Can they drive, and can they put it in the end zone when it matters most?
Tyreek Chappelle is back in at corner. And Dyke looks to his left, makes a throw to the sidelines, and it's Brashard Smith who makes a man miss and scoots for a first down into Aggie territory.
Pretty good job there, being able to get around the true freshman Jared Kerr. Lexington High School in Texas, able to get around him with his speed and get out of bounds, most importantly. Good positive gain there for Van Dyke on first play of this drive.
No pressure. Now he retreats and makes the throw to the bench. Again, nobody open. He had a lot of time initially.
So the first play where they pick up some yards, it was more of a zone, keeping everybody back deep. Second play after a successful play, they're walked up. They didn't necessarily blitz, but they walked up 6 up close, kind of spying and waiting to see if he would try to pull up, maybe hit an underneath throw. Let's see if they dial up any pressure. They continue to play a little more soft and conservative on the shell. See 2 safeties back deep.
You got 3 true freshmen on the field right now, the Aggie defense in the secondary. Van Dyke across the middle, and it's broken up. Breaking up the play is one of the veterans out there. I guess a sophomore qualifies as a veteran. It's Cooper.
It's probably true right now in this case. 2 safeties deep. You got linebackers and corners that are locked up in man-to-man, just playing a man under with 2 deep. Nobody open. Pretty good coverage there. Again, who can get separation against man-to-man coverage?
Mallory is lined up in the slot. Kirk to the left.
Big man right there.
And a whistle before the snap. And Fisher will spend a timeout on defense. Getting a look at the offense on this 3rd down play. Of course, they got 2 plays to get the 10 yards.
I mean, just to remind people, we keep talking about it, but I think it's so important. Damani Richardson out with targeting, the leader of the back end. Saw Antonio Johnson, the other leader, plays nickel. He is out of the game. You have Brian George, who was eliminated from the game because of targeting. Devin Harris did not even suit up tonight. You've got a bunch of guys down right now.
Antonio Johnson's been
I mentioned
medical tent. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So you got a lot of these freshmen that are being asked to play right now. And they're going in a 2-minute drill against a pretty qualified quarterback.
See who Van Dyke can trust, who can get that separation, Kirk, you talk about in these tight spaces.
They're sitting back now, rushing 3. Again, playing some zone.
Knighton out of the backfield makes the catch. He'll be wrestled down by Jalen Jones. It's 4th down, clock running.
Inbounds. Did not get out of bounds.
Got to make your 4th down call quickly here, but more importantly, you got to gain 4 yards.
Look at the hesitation, the confusion. Clock tick, tick, tick. This is why you do these drills in camp.
Here's the ball game, and it's incomplete. Delivered it under duress. Brashard Smith off his hands. Drops have been a problem for this receiving core since the beginning of training camp, and the Aggies are going to survive.
Just from the beginning, the play is inbounds, the clock is ticking, there's hesitation, there's confusion. Here's the route right here. It's actually a pretty good route. The ball is already out. Van Dyke does his job. Look where the ball hits him, right in the face mask. Ball couldn't have not been thrown any better. Pressure's on. There's the separation. He did what he needed to do, but didn't it just feel discombobulated? It felt frantic, not from Van Dyke, but from the players around him. Kind of the theme tonight of the game when it came to the passing game. The receivers aren't mature enough to handle these kind of situations yet.
Yeah, you needed to get that 4 yards to keep the game alive, but the clock was ticking down. You're facing a dilemma there. And, without Xavier Restrepo, we talked about it all night. The top target, the roommate of Van Dyke, the guy that he trusts, the guy that he worked with all summer long to develop that chemistry, that timing for routes just like that. It has been a struggle. But it may be a struggle until 7 gets back.
Even when 7 comes back, Restrepo, you still need others besides he and Will Mowry. I mean, if they're going to really compete with a quarterback like this, the line did a pretty good job tonight. The backs are running pretty good. The development of the receivers as a group, even with Restrepo back, is going to tell you what kind of year they're going to have offensively in this new system of Josh Gaddis.
Back home from Middle Tennessee State, then a bye, then the ACC opener against North Carolina. And the Aggies get a win in front of the 3rd largest crowd ever to ease some of the sting of last week. Jimbo Fisher continues to have success against Miami, 8-1 in his career. And let's go down to Holly with Jimbo.
Well, Coach Fisher, you had to make some difficult decisions this week, and one of them was pulling your quarterback. How do you describe how Max Johnson came in and performed?
I thought he did a really nice job. He led the team, played with poise and didn't try to take things that weren't there. Made some plays when he was there. We got to get a lot better, but he led us to victory and did the things we had to do, and our defense played outstanding.
I thought Devon Achane was so terrific for you tonight. How do you describe the burst that he gives you?
He's just an unbelievable athlete that can catch and run, and he's a very diverse guy. Nias played really good. We have a lot of those guys like that. We just got to get to use them more and do a better job.
You had to make a hard stand tonight and help some young men grow up. How hard was it, though, when you kept seeing DB after DB go out of this game?
Listen, we got to do what's right. You got to do things right no matter what the circumstances are. And I think we got to get everybody on the same page and doing those things. And just sometimes mistakes are made, but we grow, and that's what kids do. But our team showed a lot of heart and a lot of guts today.
To beat a team like Miami that's on the come up, how do you describe what this does coming off that loss last week?
You're exactly right. I say fear does two things. Fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. And that's what we did, and we got to keep doing it. We got to get a lot better, though.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Outgained by 128 yards, but much better in the red zone.
Obviously, I really applaud Jimbo Fisher after coming off a loss to Appalachian State. You have 4 players who are very talented that could have helped him tonight. They're not going to follow the rules. He just sits them out and takes on the Miami Hurricanes. It wasn't pretty. It's a win. Maybe a win can start to spring them in a much better direction, because right now the offense still trying to find itself, even with Max Johnson in there.
Not home again for 6 weeks. Arkansas and Arlington, then 3 SEC road games, including that game in Tuscaloosa that you may have heard some about in the offseason. So it's going to be a tough road ahead for the Aggies, but they get a satisfying non-conference W over the Hurricanes tonight. We enjoyed it from Kyle Field, the game produced by Bill Bonnell, directed by Derek Mobley. We thank our entire crew for Kurt, Holly, Todd, and Marty. Chris Fowler saying so long from College Station. Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt coming up right now.